Welcome back, everyone, for more videos of unexplained mysteries, scary things that can ruin your life, and scary paranormal videos. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. This child knew things no one should. Number 10. The boy who saw ghosts. When he was just 2 years old, little Austin Furrow from Utah was already seeing dead people. His mother was so scared when she first heard about this because she had no idea what was going on. It was only later that his grandmother, Karen Dennis, realized what was happening. Austin's great-grandfather had passed away several years earlier, and he used to visit him in his sleep. Austin was having prophetic dreams about his great-grandfather and then telling his family all about them. His family was completely shocked by his vivid descriptions of his great-grandfather, who he hadn't even met. He would tell his mom that his great-grandpa was wearing his robe and slippers and drinking coffee. He would also talk about the paintings on the walls and the furniture. All of this was exactly the same as it was in the old man S. house where Austin S. great-grandfather used to live. What was even crazier was that Austin was able to describe his great-grandfather S. house in great detail. Even though he had never seen it, as time went on, Austin's visions continued. He started to see other ghosts too, and he even started warning his parents about things he saw around the neighborhood. At one point, Austin warned his mother that someone had been drinking at the wheel after seeing a car crash in a vision. Another time, he saved a girl's life by warning her that the tree she was sitting under was about to fall. He has continued to have these visions ever since he was a toddler, and nobody knows why. Number 9. The little girl who knew too much. When 3-year-old Taya Morgan was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer, doctors told her parents she didn't have long to live. She fought hard against the disease, but within 2 months of her diagnosis, she had passed away. Her parents were devastated, and they could understand how something so awful could happen to such a sweet little girl. It was only later that her family discovered just how amazing she really was. While she was sick, Taya wrote down everything she was experiencing. This included details about the medications she was given, symptoms she was suffering from, and even some of the treatment she underwent. But what was most shocking is that she also described in great detail things she had never seen, including the equipment the nurses used to monitor her heart rate, the way the windows looked in the hospital, and even the layout of the floor. She also drew pictures of the hospital room she was staying in, which matched perfectly with what the room actually looked like. It seems like she had some kind of vision or premonition about the hospital, although nobody knows why. 8. The boy who came back. In 2007, a 4-year-old boy named Daniel Oviedo was almost drowned to death by his father. Luckily, paramedics were able to save his life, but the doctor said he had suffered brain damage because of the lack of oxygen. His family was told he would never be the same again. He was left severely disabled and unable to speak. But just a year later, something miraculous happened. Daniel started talking, and he began telling his family about things he had never experienced before. He talked about being underwater and seeing lights, claiming that he had visited heaven. He also spoke about Jesus and said that he had many friends there. He was even able to recognize some of his relatives in a lineup, even though he had never met them before. He also seemed to know a lot more than a 4-year-old should know, including the fact that there was a dog waiting for him at home. He remembered things about his father that no child should remember, like how he smelled and how he felt when he held him. Some believe that Daniel truly did visit heaven and came back to earth with incredible knowledge. Others think he was simply making things up, but we may never know for sure. 7. A visionary toddler. In 2016, a young mother from Georgia named Amanda Gorman gave birth to her son Grayson. She had no idea that her son was special. It wasn't until he started talking that she learned he knew things he shouldn't. One day, Amanda was cleaning out the attic when she came across an old photo album. She was shocked when she saw a picture of a woman she didn't recognize. She asked her husband if he knew who the woman was, and he said he had no idea. When Grayson piped up and told his mom that the lady in the picture was his grandma, he even told her name. And get this, He told her all the things she liked to do and places she liked to go. Amanda was absolutely astounded. She still had no idea what was going on. Then Grayson led her to another picture of a man and told her that was his grandpa. Again, he knew all about this man too. Not only that, but Grayson also showed interest in other old family photos. He was able to identify each person in the photo and tell Amanda things about them, even though he had never met any of them. And that's not all. Grayson also started talking about past events that Amanda herself had experienced. She had no idea how he could know all this stuff, but she soon found out. Amanda had given birth to Grayson just a few weeks before her own grandmother had passed away. Many believe that Grayson and his grandmother had a special connection. They say that he was born with the ability to communicate with spirit, and that is why he knew so much. No. 6. A child prophet when 4-year-old Michaela Markle from West Virginia told her mom that the family dog was going to die. She was obviously upset. Unfortunately, the next day, the dog did indeed pass away. Just a few weeks later, Michaela made another prediction, and once again, she was right. She told her mom that their refrigerator was going to break down, and they wouldn't have food to eat. Once again, the very next day, the refrigerator broke, and they lost all their food. Of course, Michaela's mother was worried, not to mention confused. She didn't know what to do about her daughter's strange predictions. Was Michaela getting messages from beyond the grave? Nobody knows for sure. But what is even crazier is that not only does Michaela seem to know when bad things are going to happen in the future, she also seems to know things about people she has never met before. No. 5. Visions of the future. If you ask anyone who knows him, they will tell you that 7-year-old Aiden Connor is a normal kid who likes to play football, video games, and spend time with his friends and family. However, he's not entirely normal. Aiden has visions of the future. These visions come to him in dreams, and he wakes up knowing things that he shouldn't. For example, recently he told his dad that he had a dream about him getting into a car accident. Of course, his dad thought it was just a nightmare. But a few days later, he was in a serious car accident. Aiden also had a vision about his uncle getting into a fight and knocking his tooth out. Once again, his family thought it was just a dream. But once again, Aiden was right. His uncle got into a fight and knocked his tooth out. It seems like Aiden has the ability to predict the future, but nobody knows how or why. No, for Beyond the Grave. On May 18th, 1999, 20-month-old James Satz from New York passed away after choking on a coin. Everyone was devastated, especially his parents. They couldn't imagine why their healthy baby boy had to die. But what was even crazier was that after he died, he started appearing to people around him. First, it was his grandmother. She was driving down the street when she saw James standing on the side of the road waving to her. Of course, she stopped and called out to him, but when she got out of her car, he was gone. This happened to her several times over the next few days, but she was never able to get close enough to him to talk to him. Then his parents started seeing him too. They would hear his laugh and see his shadow, but whenever they tried to interact with him, he disappeared. It seemed like James was trying to tell them something, but they had no idea what it was. Eventually, they found out. Years later, after James had passed on, his parents received a message from one of their friends. Their friend told them that James had appeared to her while she was praying, and she delivered a message from him. James told her that he was happy and healthy and that he wanted his parents to know that he was unsuffering anymore. 3. Death Day Vision. When 4-year-old Cameron Juarez from Texas was diagnosed with an aggressive brain tumor, doctors told his family there was nothing they could do. He was given just a few months to live. Of course, his family was devastated, but they were determined to make him happy during his remaining time. They took him to Disney World, threw him a superhero party, and bought him all his favorite toys. But what was craziest of all was that Cameron started having visions of the day he would die. He told his mom that on December he was going to die and that he would become an angel. Of course, his mom thought it was just a nightmare. But on December, right after sunrise, he told her he was ready to go. He told her he could feel himself floating away. He then passed away peacefully in his sleep. Number 2, born knowing. When 2-year-old Ashley Arwood from Canada started speaking, her parents thought it was a miracle. She had been mute since birth, and they had no idea why she suddenly started talking. But as soon as she started talking, she started saying things that shocked her parents. She started talking about her great-grandmother who had passed away. She described her great-grandmother's funeral in great detail, even though she had never attended one. She also described how her great-grandmother looked and smelled, as well as the clothes she wore and the jewelry she owned. Not only that, but she also talked about her great-great-great-grandfather, who she had never met, and told her parents things about him, too. At first, her parents thought maybe she had picked this stuff up from somewhere. But when she started talking about things that happened before she was born, they knew she must have been born with special abilities. No, one, the psychic baby. In 2012, a baby girl was born in South Carolina. From the time she was just a toddler, she displayed strange abilities that nobody could explain. She was able to tell people things about themselves they had never told her, including personal information and traumatic experiences. She was also able to tell people things about their families, like if they were arguing or if someone in their family had passed away. She was even able to tell people what they needed help with and offer advice on how to fix their problems. At first, her parents thought she had somehow absorbed this information from watching TV or listening in on conversations. But then she started telling people things that were impossible for her to know. This included personal details about strangers and things that happened before she was born. She was even able to tell people about upcoming news events before they happened. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.